Good morning everybody, I am Sarah with the trains, and today you find me again at Llanbedr railway station, ready to head off and explore some more stations along the Cambrian Line. The first station we're heading off to today is Pensarn. Now it is a Sunday, so the services are even more limited than normal, so there is going to be a little bit of walking again in this video. Oh dear, first issue of the day, the train is running late due to a delayed train in front of it. Let's hope that doesn't scupper the plans. We have made it to Pensarn. So Pensarn was opened in 1867 by the Cambrian Coast Railway. It was then renamed in 1885 to Llanbedr and Dyffryn, but came back to being called just a plain old Pensarn in 1978. It's not to be confused with Llanbedr and Pensarn on the North Wales coastline. As we can see from looking at historic maps, there was once a siding at Pensarn. This was clearly to serve the lime kiln and complex of buildings immediately adjacent to the station, as well as Pensarn Wharf. The siding in question, though, is sadly long gone. So that train was actually about 15 minutes late, so we've got less time than I anticipated until the train at our next station of the day. So we'll have a quick wander around and see what's here at Pensarn. As you can see, it is just the one platform here at Pensarn. We've got the often seen red-hot bench of death, or at least it would be if the sun would come out properly. There's the good old bus shelter style waiting shelter, with a reminder that this is yet another request stop. We've got the dot matrix display that tells me that the next train is actually running to time, along with planters, a direction of travel sign, and our exit from the station, which is completely level access. Although how accessible it is with that kind of gate, I don't know. Let's see how stiff the gate is. Gotta reach over. Gate in itself is not too stiff, but would be quite difficult to operate if you're not able to lean over it. What's this I spy? A telephone box? Well, we've got to check it. Well, it's got ivy growing in it. Some hair gel? Okay. The amount of cobwebs suggests this isn't very regularly used. There is a dial-in tone, but there is a little thing that's come up on the screen that says emergency calls only, so you can't use this just to ring your mum and dad. First time I've seen that on one of my phone box investigations. They usually work or they don't. But that one works, but only in an emergency. Or to make an emergency call, because the phone doesn't know whether there's an emergency or not. Here we've got some signs for the Wales Coast Path, and this barrow crossing should you need to get across the line. And over the line, we've got some lovely boats. Also just found a George V postbox. And of course the station sign. Now we've got less than an hour until our next train at Llanbedr, and it's about a half-hour walk to Llanbedr, so we better get moving so that we can film at, you've guessed it, Llanbedr. That's got to be the roomiest kissing gate I've ever walked through. And I should have worn my boots. From the roar of the traffic on the road, I am extremely grateful to have found this footpath. I'm assuming it's part of the North Wales Coast Path because there was a sign pointing in this direction for the North Wales Coast Path. So, yeah, for once I've got somewhere safe to walk. although I do always obey the highway code when walking on the road. Yes, I know I'm not Evel Knievel, but safety's fun too. Well, safety's muddy at least. Ah, it would seem this is the end of the footpath, and time to go back on the road. We've made it as far as the village of Llanbedr. Now to find the station. Aha, a proper bit of footway. So I've just come across this car park and very small picnic area that has a sign for the Wales Coast Path. Now it's not safe for me to film it on the road, but I can actually see the dot matrix at Llanbedr, so we're going to take a walk down this path because it almost certainly leads there, or at the very least near to there. There we are, there's the station. We have now made it to Llanbedr. This station was opened in 1923 under the Great Western Railway, and until 1978 it was known as Llanbedr. I do apologise if I've pronounced that incorrectly. The station is close to the camping resort of Shell Island, also known as Mochra. This is only accessible by car at low tide, although you can get to it on foot from Llanbedr and Dyffryn beach. This was artificially created in 1819 when the Earl of Winchelsea diverted the Artro, which is a river here. It's named Shell Island for one very specific reason, and that's that a very wide variety of shells wash up on the island. Now that we've had that brief station history, let's have a look round and see what's here at Llanbedr today. We've got just the one short platform here, as well as a dot matrix display, useful direction of travel sign, and a crossing. Now, there is something to be noted about this crossing. As you can see from that sign, the crossing has no gates. This is also indicated by that cross symbol above the level crossing lights. There's also the bus shelter style waiting shelter. We do actually have some birds nesting in the shelter. So the sign at the level crossing does have that symbol that means there's no gates, and it says to keep the crossing clear. I just witnessed two people stop on the level crossing and just look down the line for probably about 30 seconds. Don't do that. Don't stop on the level crossing. If you are going to cross it, cross it. Do not stop and sit there looking up the line. I get stop, look and listen, but you're not supposed to stop on the level crossing. I've now got just about 10 minutes until the train arrives to take me to my next station of Dyffryn and Dyffryn, so let's just have a look around and admire the view. One thing I love about coming to Wales is all the hills and mountains, because living in Norfolk now, it is flat, there's no getting away from that. And I grew up near the Peak District. Obviously, it wouldn't be Wales without some sheep. I am getting a bit concerned about the clouds though, because it does look a bit black over Bill's mother's. Don't really know who Bill was. I asked my mother that once, she didn't know. We have made it to Dyffryn and Dyffryn. Now, I would have filmed the train coming in at Llanbedr and the level crossing also, because I love a level crossing alarm. Unfortunately, just before the train came in, a group of people came and started having a massive argument about something, so it wasn't really conducive to filming a train coming in. I'm sure whatever the argument was about was worthwhile. Don't know. The station here was opened in 1867 by the Cambrian Coast Railway, and it had two platforms and a goods yard and was originally just called Dyffryn. In 1924, under the Great Western Railway, it was renamed to Dyffryn-on-Sea. In the 1930s, the GWR also had camping coaches at the station, which, for anybody who doesn't know, is basically a railway carriage that's been converted into a little holiday let. There was also a camp coach at the station in the 50s and 60s under British Rail. The station became Dyffryn and Dyffryn in 1948 when British Rail took over. The station was staffed until 1968, when the passing loop also went out of use. The track for the passing loop and the signal were removed in 1980. Now we've had that brief little station history, let's have a look round and see what's here at Dyffryn and Dyffryn today. Here on the old down platform we have got a lovely hump that was put in 2016. There's also the dot matrix display and the bus shelter style waiting shelter. As you can see on the other side of the line, there is still the old up platform and the track bed from where the track was lifted. The old station building on the other side of the line is now a private residence. Now, one thing you may or may not know about this part of the coast is that there is a beach called Llanbedr and Dyffryn, and Llanbedr and Dyffryn is a naturist beach. Obviously, I can't take my camera down there for that reason, so let's have a walk up into Dyffryn and Dyffryn and have a look at something else that I think is interesting, and you can keep your clothes on for. I've come to visit Dyffryn Burial Chamber, which is a Neolithic site. The two burial chambers here were built around 5,000 years ago, with the smaller tomb being built first and covered in a stone mound known as a cairn, while the larger tomb was built several generations later and covered by a larger cairn that joined the two tombs together as one large monument. In the Bronze Age, around 4,000 years ago, people were placing pottery and cremated bones into the larger tomb, which shows that the old burial site was still being incorporated into new practices. Now we've had that nice visit to Dyffryn and Dyffryn station and to this Neolithic burial site, I need a quick way to get back to Llanbedr because the next train is not for another couple of hours at least. How am I going to do it? Let's try this. And as if by magic, and maybe just a little bit of walking, I'm now back at Llanbedr. I just want to say thank you everybody so much for watching. I'll see you all next time for another railway adventure. Bye! As always, an extra special thank you to all of my patrons and channel members who are listed on screen now, as well as anybody who donates to me on Ko-fi. You really do help keep this channel going. If anybody would like to become a patron, a channel member, or buy me a coffee on Ko-fi, the links to do so are in the description below.